Good afternoon, everybody. Time for another food episode of our channel. It's winter, and so stick around. Be right back. Everybody, today is Meatloaf Day. So this isn't your father's meatloaf. You'll learn with us that we like to kick things up a notch, to coin a phrase of another famous chef that's I'm a huge fan of, Emeril Lagasse. Anyways, some simple things you're going to need to do this is some ketchup, some Lee & Perrins Worcestershire sauce. Everybody, let's talk about that for a second. What does it say? Worcestershire. And I've got friends in England and they call it Worcester sauce. They said that's the right way to say it, and being as that's British, they call it Worcester sauce. Let's all call it that. You're going to need some milk. You're going to need, I use yellow onions, some garlic, pepper, that's black pepper in the grinder. Love this stuff. Honey bacon barbecue from Meat Church. We're going to kick it up with some heat with some Backdraft from Code 3, one of my absolute favorite spices. Also from Meat Church, we've got Holy Gospel. We're going to put some of that in there too. You're going to need some smoked paprika, and I also like to use smoked sea salt. So those are the basics, and you're saying, Brad, what's that? Well, that is my perforated pan. Because I don't like to use a loaf pan, and I'm going to tell you why. I know I'm definitely not the only one out there that's, I'm a big texture guy. Food can taste fantastic, but if the texture doesn't agree with me, then, you know, not eating it. So texture and appearance. You eat with your eyes first, right? That's, you know, every foodie will tell you, you eat with your eyes first. So yeah, you know, I'm not a great plater, but I like my food to look good. So anyways, the reason I have the perforated pan is because when I literally build my meatloaf on that by hand. I form it by hand. You'll see that in this video. And then I put it in my smoker, in the Traeger that way, because that way all the grease leaks out of that, and it goes to the drip tray that goes in the little pail anyway. So why would you want your meatloaf swimming in that fat? It just, you know what, when this is done, this meatloaf is going to be so juicy anyway. We're not going to dry this out. You're not going to dry it out in that smoker. So check this out, and those pans are about $6. So when you see this video, you're going to go, I'm buying one of those pans. Okay, so how many people caught on to something that I did not tell you about that was on the stove picture? Don't scroll back, that's cheating. So, here it is. Bacon puffs, that's right. So, nobody said this was going to be particularly healthy, but what meatloaf is particularly healthy? It's good, it's comfort food, that's what we're here for. This is the game changer for meatloaf, people. Now, all you have to do is put them in a Ziploc bag, crunch them all up. Instead of putting in, you know, some people use soda biscuits or crackers, soup crackers, whatever, or breadcrumbs for a binder. Bacon puffs, game changer. So basically, I just take some pork rinds and stick them in a Ziploc. I leave a corner open so I can get the air out. And then once I have all the air out of there, then I'll just finish that seal. And then you take literally anything. So let's pick anything. Let's use an onion. You don't need tools. You don't have to buy expensive stuff. We're going to chop this onion up anyway. Oh, listen to that crunch. So you just basically are going to make a quick trip around the bag. Make them nice and fine. Get that one I missed right there. There's no need to beat on this or anything crazy like that. Okay, so this part is going to bug everybody to death. And the reason it's going to bug everybody to death is this is how I cook. And for a guy with some OCD issues, when I make meatloaf, there's no measuring. I just know. And I apologize for that. Been cooking for a long time, so I just hammer it with stuff, and I just know how much it's going to take to taste really good. So I've got my bowl, nice big bowl, give yourself lots of room to work. It's full with the 3 pounds of fresh hamburger. And basically what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to start with, I'm just going to hit it with some Worcester sauce. Remember that Worcester? Okay, I'm literally just going to hit it. Okay, so that's probably a couple of good tablespoons. And then I'm going to hit it with some Holy Gospel. And literally, I'm just going to sprinkle. You got a lot of meat here. Okay, so that I know that my backdraft has some heat, and I don't want to get too carried away. So I'm going to give it probably what I would call the equivalent of 2 tablespoons of that. And then the meat church, the honey bacon barbecue. Boy, that's like the code 3 stuff. So I'm going to give that probably 2 good tablespoons as well. And I'm calling it that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. The reason is that adds some nice sweetness. And now I'm going to add what's probably a good tablespoon of smoked paprika. Okay. And then I'm going to give it about 10 good grinds of the smoked sea salt. And the reason I'm not going to add a ton of that is these other spices do have salt in them, so I don't want to get too carried away. And now your fresh peppercorn, I'm going to give it lots of good 10 twists of that times 2. Love the black pepper. Okay, so now I'm going to mix this all up by hand, and then I'm going to add the chopped onion, the garlic, the egg and milk, and then and my game changer, remember. And we're gonna take it from there and form it out. So it's been a few minutes. I'm pretty much mixed up there, but my wife just texted me, Lisa. You guys have met my wife, Lisa. She's like, what are we gonna do for supper? I'm starved. So I told her, smoking a meatloaf. And she said, baby, because she calls me baby, and I like that. She said, why don't you kick it up like you do? So I said, okay, I have something new that I got in the mail from Dixon down in Ontario not too long ago. Bam! 5 Monkeys, Scotch whiskey barbecue sauce. 5 Monkeys has some heat to it, and that Scotch whiskey, they're original. They're orange, oh boy, here we go, orange. Now I have to look. Okay, now here's where the magic happens. So I've got my pan with the holes in. So pro tip, I do actually use a little bit of no stick spray. Just keeps the meatloaf from sticking to your pan. And here it's all hand forming. So we have all the ingredients together, and we have our 3 pounds of beautiful seasoned meatloaf. And I'm just going to work this, and I'm going to turn it around, and you use whatever means you like. I keep it away from the edges just a little bit. Try to make it somewhat uniform. I try not to get it too pointy at the ends, and that way you don't get a big spot where it's going to overcook quick or anything funny. So let's head out to the smoker. Okay, so meatloaf's in, thermal probe's in, and we're gonna have this bad boy set on 180. Always pro tip, double check your pellet load. Excellent. So now that the meatloaf's been in there at 180 for about 40 minutes, we're gonna take and crank this up to 325, and we want to get an internal temperature on that meat of 155. And when we hit 155, what we'll do is we will go ahead and turn it up to 375, and we'll put some sauce or your favorite kind of sauce on top of there, and let that set up nice and tacky for about 10 minutes. All right, so now we're up to 155 internal. Said we're going to use the 5 Monkeys, and we're going to use a Scotch whiskey. So now that you're at 155, you're going to want to give this a good bath. I got my silicone brush, and I'm just going to dress the whole outside of this. And you can see it's not swimming in its own grease. So the black around the edges that you see, that's just where the fat hits the hot metal, your meatloaf underneath on a grill like this will not be burnt. It will be spooktacular. I prefer something like a sauce like this rather than just old ketchup, but it's whatever blows your hair back, right? It's you that's got to enjoy it. So there we go. That's all ready to go. Now back in the smoker to set that up at 375. All right, so the slicing is done. Just give you an view there. You see how nice and juicy that is still? You can see the juice coming out of that. And look at that smoke ring. That's what you want. That's the money right there. So anyways, like I said, not a huge plating guy, but like to have it look good. So we got our meatloaf, and we got some fresh carrots and fresh coleslaw. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what's for dinner tonight. So there you have it. Meatloaf madness. Guess who's home from work? Yeah, and you saw supper's ready, huh? Husband of the year right here. So, guys, make your wife some good food. Anyways, there's the meatloaf. You saw it plated, ready to go. We're gonna hammer that now. It took me 25 minutes to prepare that supper, and then it takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours to cook. Because you want to throw that first 45 minutes in just at 180 to smoke, remember. So anyways, the end of the video, I will post the recipe of the ingredients for all the people that hated it when I was going some of this and some of this and some of this. Hey, when you know your own cooking, you don't need to measure anymore. But anyhow, this is us checking out, eating our supper. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.